seconds.
Is this where the damn drumming and the music kicks in?
Yeah.
Welcome, everybody, to the show. This is On the Pipe Podcast. I'm your host, as always, Tyler Shepherdson, and today is Wednesday, March the 9th, 2022, and this is OTP Tuesday on a Wednesday. Thank you for joining me, and thank you for listening to yesterday's OTP's Weekend Review with Stu. Stuart Baylor joined us. We talked a lot about rider safety. We talked about the Florida GNCC, and we talked about some more head stuff and how to get rid of that inner voice in the back of your head that wants you to quit. So we've had a lot of feedback on that over the past 24 hours. So if you are one of the people that listened to that program, I want to say thank you. And I want to say thank you for being here with us again tonight for OTP Tuesday. We got a packed show coming at you in just a few moments. We got a whole bunch of winners on the show tonight. That is right. We have XC2 points leader because he's won Big Buck and he won Florida. It is AmPro Yamaha's Mike Witkowski. And right after that, we're joined by the reigning, defending GNCC National Champion, the Red Bull Factory KTM rider of Ben Kelley. Ben Kelley has also won Big Buck, and he won Florida by 4 minutes and 4 seconds. Very impressive exclamation point that he put on that white plate that he came into the weekend with, and he will hold that going into round 3 because he's coming off two straight victories, as is Mike Witkowski. So it's really cool to be able to chat with both of these guys, and we're going to get to that here in just a moment. Before that, I want to give a big shout out and a big thank you to our friends over at Beta Motorcycles. Beta Motorcycles is the official manufacturer of On the Pipe Podcast. Beta Motorcycles has been a family-owned and operated company since 1905. They manufacture the finest enduro, trials, and dual sport motorcycles that are known for their premium quality and rideability. Beta Motorcycles are the best looking bikes on the market and back it up with their superior performance. Head over to betausa.com for more information on their available models or to find a dealer near you to get yours today. As I mentioned, going back home this weekend, I'm in Florida for the week. I'll be back in North Carolina after the Georgia GNCC this weekend, and then next week I'm ripping my Beta 300RR. I can't wait. I've been sitting here thinking about it. I wish I would have brought it down here because the Alligator Enduro is actually going on Thursday, which is tomorrow. And as you can tell, my dog, Reba Mackindoodle, is very excited about the Alligator Enduro. So she had to give a shout out right there in the background. But if I would have known that, I probably would have brought my Beta down and went and ran that thing. So needless to say, I'm itching and scratching to get on that bike and put in some seat time and do a little bit of riding. Also want to give a big thanks over to our buddies at Armored Graphics. Check them out, armoredgraphics.com, or on the socials at Armored Graphics. They got a ton of different graphic kits for your motorcycles. They are the best looking graphics. They are the highest quality materials you can possibly get for dirt bike graphics. Check them out, armorgraphics.com. Don't forget that when you order graphics for your machine, if you use promo code OTP20, you will save 20% off of your order at armoredgraphics.com. Now, we got an exciting show coming at you here in just a moment. Once again, I want to say thank you. Without you all, this would not be possible. I think we created some headway on this whole rider safety thing. We've had several people that have reached out to us, so I'm excited to see if we can get the ball rolling, something in that manner. Those that have been listening to the show for a while, you know that I actually am a safety guy by trade, so my day job revolves 100% around safety. And now we're dabbling into this rider safety market, and we got a lot of people on board that are enthusiastic and ready to help as well. So I'm hoping that we can put together a plan and see what we can do. I don't know. I don't know what the solution is. I'm not claiming to know what the solution is, but there may be a solution out there, and I'm excited to explore it. So thank you all for listening once again. As always, be a friend, tell a friend. If you enjoy listening to On the Pipe podcast, tell one of your buddies because they may enjoy listening as well. Whatever you're listening on, make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button. As I mentioned before, sometimes I'll just throw these episodes out there and maybe not necessarily post something on Instagram or Facebook or anything like that. So if you want to stay in the loop and get your fix of OTP, make sure you are subscribing to us and giving us a follow. But other than that, I will stop wasting your time. We're going to go ahead and get to our first guest of the evening. He is the XC2 points leader. He is the man with the white number plate and the green letters. He is Mike Witkowski. Mike, what's going on with you today?
Not much. Just kind of hanging out. Went for a bike ride today. Still a bit sore from Florida. Obviously, it was a super rough track. Weather was hot, so just kind of still recouping a bit.
Dude, what a brutal race. I don't think I've ever seen the finish line of a race look like the finish line of that race. How did you feel at the end of that thing?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know who, except for probably Ben, because he's an animal, but everyone's pretty smoked, I think. Just the track shaped up to be, obviously, I think one of the roughest Florida rounds we had over the years. But I don't know. Yeah, it was tough. I think the heat kind of got to a lot of people. So I think that was another factor. But overall, I mean, obviously, we had a pretty good first round with good temps, and then this one was hot. So that mixed with the rough track, you're going to have a tough day on the bike.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, I couldn't believe, like, Ben came off the track and he's just chilling, hanging out, and then I see everybody else like collapsing behind him. I was like, oh wait, he's not the normal one. So I actually filmed a lot of the people coming off the track. As soon as you came off, you kind of blew by, went straight to the truck. Is that where you went? I didn't see where you went. I just saw you go riding past.
Yeah. A lot of people ask, they're like, hey dude, like, good job, but like, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, I just honestly wanted to go back to the rig and lay down, sit by a fan, get cooled off instead of sit on my bike or sit on the ground in the sun more. So I think I took maybe the smarter approach. Went back to the rig, hung out. We're away from everyone. So
not only that, you were like the only person that didn't have a camera in your face the whole time too.
Yeah. Yeah, it was sick.
So I guess that worked out.
Yeah.
But man, you pull the whole shot and you lead every lap, green to checkers, and you get the win. How do you feel with where you're at right now? Coming off a win at Big Buck, win at Wild Boar. I mean, like I said, green to checkers, just had it under control. Where are you at right now?
Yeah, no, it was this Florida round was kind of on my bucket list to, obviously win. And I went down to Florida early to prep, and I rode with Jordan and Jack Eddy actually a little bit. And I got used to the heat. I did a lot of testing. Because usually in years past, I've won Big Buck the last 3 years. So going into round 2, I wanted to make sure everyone knew, like, that's not just the only round I can win. So that was my goal. And, we did the homework within that 2-week span. And, yeah, I mean, I was stoked to win Florida and obviously lead every lap. Other than that, it was really cool. I think just going into Georgia, I kind of know what to expect. And I think with Florida, honestly, I just managed the race super well. Got the whole shot, like you said, and just was out front and controlled the pace of the race, honestly. So that was nice for once. But overall, it was good.
Hey, man, why'd you take Lyndon Snodgrass out at the start? I saw that.
Dude, he came in hot. I don't know what he's doing. I was like, dude, fuck. But no, I almost went down, honestly. We all banged bars. And then I didn't realize he did go down. But after I was watching footage, I was like, man, he did crash in the first corner. So that made for a long day for him.
Yeah, no, I was just messing with you. I was in the second turn, and you guys all come around, and I see someone hit the ground. I didn't realize it was Lyndon at first, but yeah, I went back and looked at it, and he smacked the ground pretty hard. But no, you got around the outside, got into the woods first, and one thing that I've been kind of wondering, just how brutal Florida is in general, do you do anything at all different leading into Florida, knowing it's one of the most grueling tracks, or is it kind of just every race is the same preparation?
Yeah, honestly, we only have 2 weeks, so just making sure you're not digging yourself a hole, honestly, before you go into that race, because it's so grueling, and obviously this year was hot. So I think for myself, it was just kind of making sure I was rested. I probably went a little bit too hard than I wanted, just on the bike and stuff during that week, but yeah, I think the key is, I'm not sure what the other guys do, but just honestly laying up a bit for that round, but the rest of them you can kind of get away with it because it's not that gnarly. It's kind of different, kind of rough.
Yeah. So on the bike, you mean like riding your dirt bike, or like on the road bike pedaling?
I think on the dirt bike. So I had a hard day on Thursday. I shouldn't say hard, but it was hot that day. The track was rough. I think I was a bit too excited. I was feeling good that day, and then I don't know. I just probably went a bit too hard and came into the weekend a little bit tired. But cycling wise, like I kept it pretty easy. But I think just on the bike side, like you're saying.
Gotcha. And so I know a lot of people go down to Florida and actually train in Florida for most of the off season and do that until after the Florida race. Do you stay up like local to South Carolina, or were you down in Florida riding last week?
Yeah. So me and I had a practice mechanic go with me. He's been with me all winter, actually, but me and him rented a house in Claremont, Florida.
Okay.
So we had some private places, and we linked up with Jordan and Jack to ride, and they kind of showed us all the good spots, which was really nice. But yeah, I mean, I went down. I had spent a week there, I think, and the weather was about the same, high 80s, roll nice and warm. So, but usually, obviously, in the winter, I went down with Scott Plessinger. We were kind of pretty north, up around Star Racing, their facility, I guess the old Carmichael farm and stuff. We were kind of right down the street from them. So it wasn't obviously super sandy or no means, but I think that kind of works for me, just staying more on the just regular dirt and not just sand all winter.
Yeah. And it's like Florida is the only real sand round. In Coker, there's some sand, but I mean, I think Coker's more of a hard base kind of clay race than a sand race anyway.
Yeah, it's got a little bit of both. It does get obviously super whooped out, but it's not, too crazy. But yeah, we only really have one really gnarly sand tracks, racing wise, but the rest are just normal dirt.
And going off of that, you kind of mentioned coming into Florida, you said we only have 2 weeks to prepare. And Florida is one of those, it's probably the most physically demanding track of the year. And like I said, you mentioned only 2 weeks to prepare, Going into Georgia, and this is something I kind of started wondering after seeing how everyone reacted after the finish of Florida. How tough of a turnaround is that racing at the level that you guys are racing, to be able to turn it around to go from that brutal race on Sunday and only have a week until you're right back on the starting line in Georgia? What's your recovery week like while also preparing for another race, only having 1 week in between these two rounds?
Yeah, honestly, I don't think any of us are really prepared for it, or we don't really know the best way to approach it other than just proper rest and just getting a little bit of work in. That's kind of my approach as far as this week goes. Just keep it on the mellow side. Today I went on a cycle, try and loosen up a bit. Still a bit stiff, but, probably ride a couple times or just, keep it easy, but obviously you need the intensity still. But, this Sunday we're going to be back at it for another 3 hours of racing. So you got to make sure you're up to par and you're not smoked. And Sunday's race in Florida was obviously gnarly for everyone. And I know a lot of people, it takes most of the week to recover. So just being smart about it, I think, is the best approach, and just making sure by this Sunday, we're ready, firing on all cylinders, and just have that intensity.
Dang. And so another thing I was wondering specifically for you, you've been a title contender in that XC2 class. Came down to the wire a couple years ago. I know you had some health issues and stuff that you dealt with last year, but coming into this year, I mean, you're looking strong as ever. Obviously, come out, back-to-back wins, got the white plate. I'm sure that's got to be a really good feeling in itself, but given the string of injuries that we had and Johnny Gerard being the defending champion, he obviously goes down in the first round, and he's going to miss a good bit of time on the bike. And then Lyndon, he's a little banged up as well, as he spoke about and put out. Does any of that stuff make its way into where you're at? Like having other people go, like guys that you're competing with for that title directly, when you see them a little bit banged up, or in Johnny's case, out for the rest of the season, does that change your mentality or your focus or your goals at all?
Honestly, for me, it's kind of a bummer. Like for my competitors like that, I don't want to. Honestly, I want all the good guys to be in there, and I want to be able to win against Johnny and Lyndon and the guys at their peak. So, I mean, it is a bummer to see them, injured, but also you got to stay healthy for the whole season. And last year I was in that same boat, just on a different level, just on the sickness side. But, yeah, I mean, it doesn't really change much as far as the outlook for myself or the team. We just want to stay consistent, stay even keel, and do the best we can. And if that's winning races, then that's great on our end, and we're over the moon about it. But yeah, like I said, I want the best guys in the class, and I want to show all the hard work we put in. I think before Johnny had that crash, like, we were in a really good spot. I knew it'd be a great year battling, and even Lyndon was still strong if he has an injury or whatever's going on. So hopefully he can come back and from what he's got going on as well, and have some battles. I know Jack will be good. Cody's good. There's good guys in the class, but I think just over the years I've learned so much, and I'm putting that into action, it seems like, this year, and just kind of taking the smarter approach, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, you probably are the veteran of that class. And do you think that this is one of the most competitive XC2 classes that there's been?
Yeah, obviously with Johnny out now, like, I think in 2020 was probably the most competitive. We had Craig, Johnny, I mean, just about the same guys, like Lyndon, Cody was in there, forgot who else. There were some good guys, but obviously Jack's over here. He's really, really talented kid. But yeah, I am like the veteran, but also I've realized that a lot of these dudes are like maybe even a year older than I am. I'm still pretty decently young, I would say. I've just had a string of bad luck or whatever it may be, and we're just trying to do the best we can and hopefully have a good year this year.
How old are you?
23.
Dang. And you've been right. Dang, I didn't realize. I thought you were older than that. Now I see what you're
Yeah, a lot of people do.
So, I mean, now you've had a few years on that Yamaha team, and obviously it looks like everything's gelling and stuff on the bikes. What's it kind of been like as from a team perspective? Like with riders, I know you had like riders come in, riders come out. Now you got riders hurt. Do you guys train much together as a team, or is it pretty much just together on the weekends, or how's the overall team feel over there?
Yeah, it's pretty isolated as far as me, Lane, Stu, even Rachel. We're kind of all on our own. I did have the amateur kid with me this winter, Cooper Jones. That was nice. But in the summer last year, I did spend a fair bit of time riding at Stu's facility, just riding with him, trying to get the speed up and all that good stuff. I was planning this summer to ride with Lane a bit, if all goes well. But, just normal days, we're pretty isolated. We don't really spend much time together. Not sure why, but I kind of wish we would have team days, whatever it may be, and ride together more. But sometimes it's just part of it.
We got to get everybody on the horn, man. Iron sharpens iron. I know.
Yeah, man.
Stu and Lane got a little healing to do, but yeah, man. And speaking of Stu, we've kind of talked to him a bunch on the podcast here lately, and one thing that comes up a lot is the social media side of things, and that is one aspect where I've seen that you've really been trying to make a push at that. I know you're filming more like exclusive content for you and putting out more of a social media presence. What inspired you to get involved in that, and how do you think it all is going, and do you think it changes the Mike Witkowski brand by doing that?
Yeah, so that's kind of the whole goal here, is just to build my fan base, the brands, the MW brand, obviously. But yeah, honestly, I went full over the winter. I found a guy, and I was like, "Hey, dude, you want to follow me around this next year and try and see what we can do about it?" And yeah, he was all on board, and I was like, "All right, I'll hire you up and let's do it." So it's an investment for sure. It's not cheap to have someone come to the races, film you, but honestly, it's rewarding when you can put content out there for the fans and try and get yourself the recognition and just good content for everyone that they enjoy. So that's what we've been trying to work on this year, and it's been going really good. Gunner's UK Films, he's been crushing it. So dude works his butt off, and it's really cool to see. But yeah, we're just trying to build this thing up.
Heck yeah, and that's cool. And like I said, I've taken notice, and I know a lot of people have taken notice. But I think it's cool to see riders pushing themselves and pushing their own brands, and like you said, making an investment and putting that into it to build up everything else that you got going on. But man, I couldn't be more thankful for your time. Before I let you go, just wondering, what's the rest of the year look like for you? I know the focus is mainly on GNCCs. What's your goals as far as that is concerned, and do you plan on doing any other racing outside of GNCC this year?
Yeah, other than GNCC, probably maybe some sprint enduros here and there. But the goal was to hopefully make the junior trophy team for ICE if all goes to plan. I know this would be my last year as far as age goes, and I know a lot of guys are aged out, like as far as the pro guys, but that would be a goal, and hopefully I can get picked by the team to go over there. And if not, all good. I'll just keep chasing GNCC, which is obviously the main goal anyways. But maybe, just some sprint enduros here and there, and just kind of have fun with it.
Sweet. Good deal, man. I'm looking forward to it. Congratulations on back-to-back wins this year. Looking for win number 3 in a row this weekend. Wish you all the luck in Georgia and throughout the rest of the year. And then, like I said, man, I couldn't be more thankful for your time for chatting with us today.
Yeah, no, appreciate you having me on the show, and it's really good to be back on. I haven't been on since maybe 2020, so hopefully
it hasn't been that long, has it?
Yeah, it's been a while, but it's all good.
Oh, man. Now I feel bad. That's what I was sitting there. I was going to go through earlier. I was like, oh, when was the last time that we talked for the podcast? I didn't realize it had been that long.
It's all good. We're back, though.
My bad, man. I slacked off last year, but super cool to have you on, and let's win some more races, so then we'll talk about it again here in a few months.
Yeah, sounds like a plan. We'll see you guys at the races.
All right. Thanks, Mike. See ya.
All right, see ya.
We are going to go to our final guest of the evening, the reigning, defending GNCC National Champion and current points leader, Ben Kelley. Ben, how's everything going today, man?
It's going good. Can't complain.
I hear you. So, as I mentioned, there's been a lot that's happened. You win the championship, you got the number 1 plate, and now you got the white plate through round 2. How does it feel? Where do you feel like you're at as far as the season is concerned after 2 rounds?
It feels good for sure. After last year was tough and everything, and then finally was able to get the championship, so that was good. And yeah, I had a good off season and everything, and yeah, I was not really sure how it was going to feel coming into the new year, but just I guess having that number 1 just gave me some confidence. And yeah, the first 2 rounds have been pretty unreal for me. Yeah, probably some of the best GNCC races I've done, like from my own performance-wise. So I'm pumped on that. Just everything's working out. And yeah, it's been a pretty dream start to the season.
Yeah, I'd say that's for sure. And I want to get into these couple races here in a moment, but you just mentioned coming in with the number one plate. You said it gave you confidence. I feel like that's one of those things that could go either way, where some people think it would add more pressure. You already said it gave you more confidence. Was your preparation coming into this season compared to any of the other seasons, was it any different knowing that you're defending that championship, or was it just as kind of you alluded to, like, hey, I got the number one plate. This is what I'm here for?
No, just the same. Business as usual, I guess you could say, but just in my mindset and mentality. But it's just, I guess, the fact that I'm on the same bike, and so nothing's changed there. So just comfortable with it, and the program is very similar. Changed a little bit, just having some different trainers this year with Caleb and Jacob Fetty, but still down at Ranch Russell where I've been the past few years. So, yeah, a lot's been the same, but just a little bit of change up to the program has been refreshing. And, yeah, just another day. It seems like, I don't know, I just kind of take it day by day and do my thing.
Yeah, just riding dirt bikes and having fun.
That's
So
it.
do you ride a 350 or a 450?
Yeah, 350 now. I switched to the 350 full-time last year, and, yeah, sticking with it again for this year.
Cool. And as you mentioned, you guys training down there with Ranch Russell. Obviously had a solid crew down there training over the off season, and unfortunately the injury bug is biting hard this year, and I know a couple of those guys are some of your teammates. What's the preparation been like in the preseason, and what's your take on these injuries going on?
Yeah, I guess it's the nature of the beast, which sucks. It's just the sport we're in is super dangerous, and I even find myself, like, not to say we take it for granted, but I don't think we really realize how fast we're going out there until you hit the ground and life hits you with a quick reality check. So that's what's tough, where you can't get complacent and honest and be like too confident either. You got to just take it as it is and try to stay focused and just do the best you can, but try to stay safe, obviously, because before you know it, you could be on the ground, and it doesn't even have to be a hard crash. Like, you could just fall awkwardly. It always seems like when you get hurt, it's on just, something stupid that easily could have, if you just made a slightly different decision, it could have never happened. But, yeah, it sucks, Thad and Johnny both. I've been down here training with them the past 2 years, and yeah, it's been good. We keep it fun, and Craig and Trevor were two new guys who came on, and then we had Cole Forbes and Chase Landers, so two like amateur guys riding the A class, and yeah, it was good. It's gnarly when you got a bunch of fast guys like that, and we're out there practicing, basically racing every day. And yeah, it's wild, but it's been good. It's fun. It keeps you motivated and keeps you striving for more. So that was cool. And yeah, it sucks to see them get hurt. Thad was coming in strong and was going to be a title threat for sure. And I was looking forward to racing him because it sucks. He's been struggling with injury the past few years, so I've never really been able to race him all that much. And with Johnny, down here this offseason, he's basically been waxing all of us during the week by like a crazy amount of time sometimes.
Dang,
where
really?
Thad and I are just scratching our heads, but it's cool. We all know Johnny's a ripper, but yeah, hopefully they'll all make a full recovery. And yeah, we'll be back training and riding, racing again, all of us guys. And yeah, not even just them, all these riders that have been getting hurt at the first few rounds is crazy. I feel like every year people are getting hurt, and it seems to plague a lot of riders, but this year it almost seems like it's happening all at once, and who knows why that's the case. But yeah, just hopefully everyone comes back strong, and I guess that's the best we can hope for.
It's such a weird coincidence, as you mentioned, like with the nature of the sport and the level that you guys are pushing each other to. I mean, injuries happen, but it just seems so crazy that there's been so many of them in two races. I think we've lost 6-7 guys. But going into the offseason and training and, like you mentioned, riding on that edge and training with all these other guys that are right up there in the mix, obviously with you coming out, winning the championship, riding for Red Bull KTM, and now training with Caleb Russell down there at Ranch Russell, it seems like a lot of the comparisons get made, like as far as Caleb's legacy and now you stepping into that role, I mean, as that guy on that team. Do you like those comparisons? Do you like trying to, or I get when people are comparing Caleb's legacy to what you can do? Do you like that? Do you see that as a compliment, or are you just trying to stay separate and stay Ben Kelley?
No, I mean, I guess it's definitely a compliment. They say he's the GOAT of GNCC and off-road racing, so if they're comparing me to that, then that's cool. But, I'm not focused on trying to win multiple consecutive championships or anything like right now. I'm just trying to go out there and try to win more races this year than I did last year, and definitely shooting for that championship again, just trying to get better, keep progressing. And yeah, hopefully I will have a strong and long career doing this. I'm really enjoying it. And, GNC has been my favorite form of off-road racing, with just the head-to-head racing versus doing it against the clock enduro style. But yeah, just focusing on myself. And yeah, it's cool to have Caleb in my corner, and obviously he's sharing a lot of his wisdom with me as it's been showing on the track. So that's awesome. And yeah, just excited to see how this year's going to unfold.
Man, I'm excited for it too. And I didn't want to, as far as your intro was concerned, like, dude, I'm pumped up. I could went on and on about it, but trying to leave some out of the intro, talk about it later. Basically, what I'm getting at is this past weekend, you won by 4 minutes, over 4 minutes. I think you were back at the rig, showered and packing up your bag, and then watching second place come through. It was crazy. You put on a heck of a race from start to finish, and then I started going back and looking. No matter who's in, no matter who's out, you have led every single lap of this season. There has not been another lap leader at a GNCC other than Ben Kelley. Going into this weekend in Georgia, in between the second and third round, if someone before this season told you that was going to be the case, that nobody was going to lead a lap besides you after 2 races, what would you say to that?
Yeah, I don't know if I could believe it, but I don't know if I would have at the time. Coming into the season at Big Buck, the XC1 class was basically the biggest I've ever seen it, which was awesome. The more riders on the front row, the better the show for everybody, and usually the battling. But yeah, especially too, I guess I'm not the best starter, and I really haven't practiced them all that much, but even though I probably should. But yeah, I had 2 decent starts, and I guess just learned a ton last year. So I've just on working through the pack and trying to put myself in a good position from the start just to make it easier on me. And yeah, so that was cool. Big Buck was sick. I definitely wanted redemption there after last year. I feel like I gave that one up just with mistakes and crashes and things happening, but that's just how that race was meant to go, I guess. And so coming to that one, I was pumped. I was excited, and I knew I could ride really good if I just made it happen. So did that. And then coming into Florida, it was weird after winning the first round. It sometimes seems like every year whoever wins the first round doesn't win the next round, but made it happen. And just I ride down here in Florida a lot. I have the past few winters, and I like the sand. It seems to suit my style, my long legs, and just had a sick race there. It was behind Jordan, who actually did lead the first lap. So,
oh man, my fault.
So, no, it's all good. But I just remember I got into Sega behind him, and it was so dusty, and so like to make a pass was tough, especially because he was going fast, and he's a tough guy to pass, anytime. Like, I would assume he hears someone trying to take a different line, he does what he's got to do to pick up the speed just enough to shut the door. And I tried a few times on the first lap, and then once behind Pro Pits where it wasn't dusty. Like, I think I probably could have got it done, but like I said, he had good lines, and he's not afraid to hold it wide open. So I didn't get it done. So I think I followed him for 2 laps, maybe passed him on the second, maybe late in the second, or it was halfway through the third, something like that. And just from there I knew, like, I was kind of just following him. And Florida's a super gnarly race. Like, every year beforehand, I've pretty much been bonked and dead at the end, just struggling the last 2 laps. But so I was kind of like expecting that to happen, or, just being ready for it. So I tried to just manage and save a bunch of energy in the beginning and figure out how to ride the track like fast, but by saving as much energy as possible. And once I got into the lead, I, put in just picked up the pace in some spots, and just built the lead to the point where I was comfortable. And I just kind of settled into a pace I was comfortable with, not like overexerting myself, waiting for the last 2 laps. And the lead just kept growing and growing. And it's not like I was out there just sending it, trying to prove a point. I just rode a comfortable pace and stayed off the ground all day, and managed to not get tangled with any lappers. Just one incident where I jumped through some whoops into a blind corner, and there was a lapper picking up his bike. So I was able to lock up the brakes and hit his rear tire, but that was about it. Said sorry to the dude and kept going. And other than that, it was a pretty clean race. And yeah, man, crazy to win Florida in a big fashion like that, but just pumped on the win in general.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that's a win with an exclamation point, especially knowing how brutal that race is year after year, to win by 4 minutes. And then I was looking through lap times, and 2 of the fastest lap times, not only of you, but of the race, were your last 2 laps or last 3 laps. So, I mean, you're still rolling late into the race, and then you come through the finish line, and looks like you just got done doing a 30-minute moto, just hanging out. You know what I mean? Like doing the Racer TV interview, smile on your face, a little water on the head. Meanwhile, behind you, it was like walking down a battlefield. I mean, just people on the ground, bikes tipped over, hoses on top of people. Did you pay any attention to that? And did that do anything to let you know where your fitness is at going into the rest of the season?
Yeah, it's pretty wild. Even after the race, like, I was still surprised at how I felt. Obviously, I wasn't fresh 100%. I was tired, and certain muscles were starting to fatigue there. But
on the podium, man, you said you could go another hour.
I could have, but did I want to? Hell no. But I would have. Another hour, I'm sure I would have been struggling out there. But I think just being maybe down here acclimated with the heat helps some, and just the way the track was too, like the driest it's ever been. It wasn't like it got, in my opinion, it wasn't like it got much worse. Like from the first lap to the last lap, it seemed like it's rough from the start, and it just stayed that way. It's not like it broke down crazy like it has in the past. So I feel like, I don't know, maybe I had some good lines from the beginning and just carried it throughout the race, and maybe had some spots where I was able to rest long enough to get through the super sandy sections. And I don't know, just whatever we've been doing has been working, and yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, I'd say so. And I think everybody else looking at this past weekend and Big Buck would be on the same boat as that. One thing I noticed, you mentioned Jacob Fetty out there helping you guys, and then Caleb obviously helping you guys. The mid-race cool-downs, I saw them out there with a cooler dumping water on you guys as you went by. How much appreciation for that did you have?
Oh, yeah, those are huge. That's what's cool about those guys. out there, real go-getters, always thinking about something to make it easier on us. And to have them out there, like, supporting mid-race is awesome. And especially in Florida in the heat, like, you got your drink pack, plus we get bottles during the pits, but then to have more drink bottles from them and then having them pouring ice water down our back was sick. The first couple laps, I was just, like, slowing down, and like, it seemed like the first time, like, he threw the water on my back, it got, like, half on, which was nice. The next time he, like, when Caleb threw it somehow hit my neck and went flying up into my ear, had me just, like, laughing. I'm like, what, and how could that even happen? And then once I got into the lead and, like, had enough, comfortable gap, I was just, like, coming to a stop, because honestly, I was losing maybe 3 or 5 seconds to get that water down my back. Like, it was way worth it. And so that was awesome. It was pretty comical. We watched the race afterwards, and to see them on the broadcast chasing us down. There's a good clip of Caleb chasing after Craig, trying to get him his water because he missed it. So he tried chasing him, and he's out there racing a dirt bike. It's pretty funny, but that's a huge help having those guys out there.
That's awesome. Yeah, right there, like near the Monster Mile and the PowerPoint, the FMF PowerPoint, it was like the 3, 6, and 8 all came right there. And so I was kind of hanging out there for a little bit, and I would just watch them guys run from one side to the other side and then back to the other side. It was cool. That's what teamwork is all about.
Yeah, for sure. I'm sure they were just as tired as us after that race.
Running through that sugar sand, it wears on you a little bit. Although they didn't have to wear full gear. They were in shorts and T-shirts. So
yeah, lucky for them. But I think they saved all that water for us, so they were out there probably dehydrated for 3 hours.
Hey, it all comes with it, I guess. I talked to Mike Witkowski earlier and kind of picked his brain a little bit. Obviously, he's 2 for 2 on the year as well. But this round, we talk about Florida. Everyone knows it's one of the most brutal, most physically demanding races of the year. Coincidentally, it is also the only race of the year where you have to follow it up with a race the next weekend. What does that do for your preparation? And does that 1 week in between races, does that bother you at all, or is it just kind of a week as normal, or are you guys doing things a little bit differently with the short recovery time?
It's definitely different than normal, than having 2 weeks. It's a quick turnaround, and being after Florida, makes it even more difficult, but it's cool just the way the schedule is. And, I'm about it. I don't have anything bad to say about it, but, it's tough. Like, pretty much this week is just super chill, just trying to recover and get rehydrated and fueled up for another race. I think basically just gonna ride once this week, and it'll just be just time on the bike. And so just mainly this week is just resting, recovering, trying to get rehydrated, because Florida will deplete you.
Yeah, that is for sure. But, I appreciate your time. And just one more thing before I let you go. I mean, you train in the off season down here in Florida. I know you've spent time in North Carolina. You're from Connecticut. After this race goes to Georgia, we got a couple South Carolina rounds, and then we're back up north. What's the rest of the year look like for you? Where do you typically put in roots and train and ride throughout the rest of the season?
Kind of just staying kind of all over the place. Like, the next month I usually stay in, like, South Carolina, North Carolina area until the southern rounds are done, and from there I usually go back to Connecticut. And I don't know, I still love New England, just the place, the people, and I don't know, that's where all my friends and family are at. And I just, the riding is good. There's a big just big variety, and it's cool, but I'll still just be bouncing around, and I'm not sure. I definitely enjoyed living in North Carolina, and kind of am on the fence about getting a place down there again. So we'll see. Just still living that gypsy life, I guess.
Well, sweet. Yeah, that was just something that I was wondering, because I was talking to, I think it was Craig the other day, and I was just sitting there. I was like, where does Ben Kelley, where does he even live now? Like, where's he at? So I figured I'd ask you. Go straight to the source.
Yeah, no one knows. I don't even have a camper anymore, so it's not like I can just set roots wherever I want.
Yeah, moving in silence. But no doubt you got a bunch of New England backers that are pumped for you and everything that you're accomplishing, just like all of them down the East Coast and around the country, man. Congratulations on your championship. It's awesome to see. Got the number 1 plate back out there with white plates, which is only fitting, coming off of 2 back-to-back wins. Looking to make it 3 this weekend in Georgia. Like I said, man, can't thank you enough for your time. And congratulations on the success up to this point. And I wish you all the luck to the rest of the season.
Cool. Thanks, man. See you around at the races.
All right, man. Sounds good.
Later.